Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I have a wonderful guest today. I'm so excited about this. Before I get started, let me introduce my sponsor here, Five Star Guitars. They are based in Beaverton, Oregon. And in Oregon, we have no sales tax. So not only can you find great deals on guitars, but check this out. They have a promo code just for you. So if you go to this link here, fivestarguitars.com/allaccesslive and enter the promo code allaccess15, you're going to get 15% off all the merchandise that you see there. So it's a post-Christmas gift. If you got money sitting around and you got for Christmas and you wanted to buy some cool guitars or accessories, go to fivestarguitars.com/allaccesslive, enter that promo code, and you're going to get 15% off. It's a bonus. They're amazing. They could also provide lessons and repairs. So if you wanted to get lessons from pros like Jennifer Batten, who played with Michael Jackson and Jeff Beck, you can do that too. And get those guitars repaired if you need that too. So go to fivestarguitars.com, throw the promo code in, and you're ready to rock. Now, I'm so excited. I got to tell you guys, I have somebody that I've known for about 15 years, this dynamic, wonderful, beautifully rounded person from Russia. Marina and her husband Nick have been doing a self-starter music career. She's amazing, and I think I convinced her to do a little music performance today too. So as we get started here, I'll introduce you to Marina, and you can go here at the link below to check out her stuff online. So I've got Marina. How are you, hon?
Hey, Kevin. So glad. Thank you so much for having me here. Really, really appreciate it, my friend.
I'm glad to see you as well. It's been a while since we've seen each other in person.
I know.
Yeah, it's the social media thing seems to be all that we get to do these days. So I was telling, I just mentioned a little bit about you being a sort of self-starter, and I think you've approached your music career in a great way. Somebody that might not understand the way the music business goes might think that the goal in any musician's life is to get a record deal and get a ton of money to go touring and have all this kind of support. But those days they're kind of gone. And it seems like you recognized that early on. So tell me about maybe first what brought you here from Russia and how your music career evolved.
Okay. That's going to be a long monologue here.
That's all right. That's all good.
Brace yourself, get
You
a
bet.
cup of tea. And I grew up in Moscow, Russia, and I went to School of Music, classical training, 8 years, very rigorous. And since I was a young kid, before I could talk, my mom says I was singing, and I remember writing songs in my head before I even played an instrument. And then I remember writing a song with my grandmother when I was about 4 or 5. I don't remember how old I was, but I was very little, and we wrote our first song together, first for her, first for me. And then I started writing when I was like 9, 10. I have those recordings on the cassette
You
still.
do.
Yeah, and they were not bad. But I've always had that in me, but I never really thought for a second this could be a career. Everybody in my family, I'm the only one without a PhD, and also in Russia at that time when I was growing up, things were really hard. People really weren't like thinking like, what can I do with my life? People like, okay, I just need to make sure I survive. You don't
Right.
even like dream. Like dreams were not even something you thought of. It's now looking back, it was just really, really hard time. So anyway, but then when I was 15 years old, actually 14, I heard about this competition. A year study abroad in America, all expenses paid. It was a big contest. About 100,000 kids from all around the former Soviet Union participated, and it was a multi-month process, and I kept advancing to the next level, and finally I was one of the winners. So that's how I came to America. I was 15 years old. Imagine letting go of of your kid when they're 15 to a foreign country for a year. But my parents knew this was the opportunity of a lifetime. And so I came to America, and I fell in love with American dream and opportunities that there are here, and people, there are millions of stories of people starting from nothing and succeeding. So I was very inspired with that, and I thought maybe, just maybe, there's a chance I could do it myself. As well, with no connections and no money, right? So, and then I came back a year later when I was 17 and stayed in America for good. And I was able to go to college. I had friends who helped me get a student visa. It was very difficult. If you talk to any person who immigrated to this country, it was very, very hard. And I was not allowed to work, not allowed to do anything, not allowed to travel to see my family back. I had no money to do that anyway. But then I got a scholarship to university, and really dear friends of mine helped hire a very fancy attorney. Anyway, so basically I started from nothing. I went to university. Is it too long?
Not at all. No, this is cool. I was just going to ask you though. So you said that some friends helped you get a visa, but when you came over at 15, I'm guessing you made some connections. You made some friends here, and like, but getting back at 17, did your family help you, or how did that work? To like,
That's thank you for asking. That's a good question. The thing is, my family could not help me. They had no money of their own. When I came back after a year of being an exchange student in America, which my job was to be a cultural ambassador, not so much an exchange student. They just call it exchange student, even though nobody went back in exchange of me. So basically, I came back. I was 16, and I spoke really good English. And at that moment, in the 90s in Russia, I was able to get a job at Cadbury Schweppes. Do you know Cadbury Schweppes? Schweppes
no.
the drink,
Oh
Schweppes
yeah,
the
of course.
drink,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Cadbury the candy. It's a giant international corporation, and I was able to get a job there as a secretary, even though I didn't have my high school diploma yet. But I spoke such good English, and I was very like personable, I guess,
Yeah.
and they hired me. And at that point, I was making more money a month than my dad, who was a nuclear physicist with a PhD.
Oh my God.
So
Wow.
it was that was like the Wild West in the 90s. I'm seeing, by the way, all the people saying all the nice things in the comments on YouTube. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much. Really, really appreciate it. I'm just seeing your names. So thank you guys for being here with us and watching. So anyway, um, and well, I worked a few months at that Cadbury Schweppes Corporation as a secretary, saved up the money, bought a ticket to go back to America. I had to get my parents' permission because I was a minor still. I was 17. And so and I came back. I stayed with the same people who hosted me when I was living as an exchange student. And then I've had really nice people in my life who have helped me a lot. People who helped me also get my visa, because that was very difficult.
I'm
I've had a lot
sure.
of a lot of amazing people who've been on my side, and I'm so grateful.
Were your parents supportive of that move?
Yes,
Really? Okay.
very, very nervous.
Yeah.
My mom at that time, my mom and dad got it. They were going through a divorce, and my mom moved to Australia. So it was very kind of dramatic things happening in our family, and I knew that life was really it was just difficult in the 90s in Russia. Things, I mean, like my dad, who was, a nuclear physicist, I remember at some point he didn't get paid for like 3 years in a row or something like that. He had to like sell some like stuff at a local market and use his like old car as a taxi. And
Oh
then,
my
I mean,
gosh.
it was like frightening. And it was like, when I'm saying like Wild West, it was really Wild West in the 90s in Russia, because Soviet Union had just fallen apart. Everything people had kind of collapsed. All the people lost savings. I know people always say like, "Oh, that's great, the Soviet Union fell apart." Yeah, in many ways it is, but it also destroyed majority of people's lives. Like
Mm.
everybody lost all of their life savings. Everybody. Imagine like my grandparents, like everybody who's worked their whole life and had their retirement set. I mean, everybody lost everything. So
Oh,
it was extremely difficult time. So imagine you don't even think of dreaming of doing like, what would I like to do with my life? You're just like, okay, will I have enough to eat next week?
wow.
And so that was the kind of life. So my parents knew it was going to be very hard to let me go, but they knew this was an opportunity that I had to take.
Yeah.
So I went back to America. I saved up that money, went for a ticket, which was a small fortune then,
Right.
and came back here. And I was on a visitor visa, and my friends. My mom's friends, actually my first American friends that I met when I was 11, they were in Moscow when I was just a kid. We stayed friends, and I happened to be in the same state. Out of 50 states in America, I happened to be 3 miles away. I was in Illinois, and they were in Chicago, and I was in Springfield, the capital. So, I mean, just kind of luck put us there together. And they were the first Americans I had ever met. They they were there before the Soviet Union fell apart in Russia, and my mom was friends with them.
Wow.
Anyway, and then I was placed because I didn't have a choice as an exchange student. They placed me to Springfield, Illinois. Out of all the states, I ended up by the people that I knew, which was just a miracle. And they kind of took me under their wing, and they've taken me to Chicago and to the art museum, and I still stay in touch with them all the time.
Oh, that's
They're like, I call them my American parents.
I would, and I know your father just passed. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you.
That must have been tough. I'm sure he was proud to see what you've done here in America, and
He was.
to have a granddaughter born. So you
Yes.
had your little girl, and I I think I would imagine, I could only imagine that being this far away, but seeing you come out and having such a work ethic, right? So you got here and you were diligent and you went after this career. Ever since I've known you, you're one of the hardest working people I've ever met.
Oh, thank you,
So,
Kevin.
and I'm sure a lot of that came from having to sort of struggle, right, in the Soviet Union. So the Springfield connection, that I'm guessing that's how you connected with Nick.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And so I came back to Springfield and I stayed with the host family that I was placed with originally. And they weren't, things were not working really well with them. And shortly after I was able to, anyway, it doesn't really matter, but
Yeah.
at that point I was living there trying to go to college, and then I ended up going to college, got a great scholarship and had some help from my friends in Chicago. I'm so lucky that they were able to help me, that they cared
Yeah.
enough. I mean, that's a miracle, really, because my parents at that point had no money at all to help me. So anyway, and then at some point, I was going to my first year of school, and I was sitting in a hot tub in a fitness club one night, and that's how I met my husband. We met in a hot tub, and now we've been together all these years.
No way, really?
Yep,
I'm
and
sure that he's like, "Hey, what's up?" Pretty, pretty Russian girl. Yeah.
yeah.
I
And we both, we started talking about music and realized that's our passion. And Nick really, and our first date was me playing my songs for him, and he played some stuff he's written, and we've been together ever since. And now we have a little girl. We've toured all around the world. We've released 12 albums.
12. Oh my
12
god.
albums, yeah. And by the way, I'm seeing all the comments here, and that's just really lovely. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah, my friend Melinda here, Traveler 112. She says, "Wait, I live in Springfield. Who are your friends?" Yeah.
Well, my friends are the ones in Chicago, but if
Yeah.
you live in you in Springfield, Illinois, that's
Yep.
so cool. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Well, Nick's family is still there. His mom and dad and his sister and his nephew.
The Baker
So
family.
the Baker family, all
There
the
you go.
Bakers in Springfield. Yes,
There you go, Melinda. Go find him. Tell him we're friends. I
that's so cool.
so you and Nick, you met in school, and did you decide at that point, you know what we need to do? We need to go to Los Angeles and pursue the music
Yeah,
career.
pretty much. I was not playing. Nick was one of the first people I ever played my music to. I was still at the point I was just so kind of shell shocked from all the dramatic changes in my life, and music has kept saving me all the time. Every time I was depressed or frustrated, I would put all of myself into the music, and I've been writing, but I never shared it almost with anybody. And then I shared it with Nick and said, "Oh, you're really good. You should." And like, yeah, he just, we're starting to date. He's just encouraging me. And then at this point, there was a talent contest at my university at Illinois College in Jacksonville, Illinois. I don't know if you know this, Melinda. Melinda, right? Is it?
Yep.
Okay, so maybe you know Jacksonville, Illinois. I went to Illinois College. Shout out to IC. And they were hosting a talent show, and Nick said, "You should totally enter that." And I did, and I played one of my original songs, and it ended up winning the first prize. And that was like 900 people. Can you imagine, Kevin? My first gig playing, the whole campus was there. We had like the big chapel, and there was a grand piano, and I played my song, and I sang, and I won the first prize, $100, which was huge.
You
But
bet.
and more importantly, people came up to me afterwards. I remember one girl came up and said, "Your song made me cry. It was so beautiful."
You
And
did an original tune.
yeah, so I did my original song. And until that point, I never even thought that something that I could write could affect somebody, because I was writing solely for myself, just to stay sane, and because that's kind of something I've always done.
You bet.
and that changed my life. So I asked from the very beginning, I thought, okay, I should do something with this. And Nick said, you have to record your songs. And I asked the dean of students at my campus, I said, hey, can I send an email to the whole campus and tell them that, like, hey, if you want to like pre-order my album, you will help pay for this. So before like the whole
No.
crowdfunding was a term, that's how my first album happened. I was a broke college student. I was working like 20 hours on campus and going full time to school. And so going to the studio was not even imaginable, financially. But we got enough money from pre-orders, from CDs, from everybody on campus, from professors and the
Oh,
fellow students and administration.
what
So I
year
was
was
able.
that?
It was 1999.
Yeah, so really, I mean, this is way before Kickstarter
Yeah.
or
Oh,
GoFundMe, like
yes.
all these. That's yeah. I think you could probably claim, and being the pioneer of crowdfunding.
Well, the thing is, I think for everybody in arts, everybody had to ask for money. Even like I'll read all the stories about this famous artist. The Mozart was always
Right.
asking for money and looking for benefactors. This is no different, really. Just
Sure.
a different tools and using more people instead of one or two rich benefactors. So, but yeah, necessity breeds creativity, and there was a necessity. I had zero money of my own to do this, but people really liked the song that I performed, and so they heard and they wanted to support. Just people just did $10, and we raised almost $2,000.
Oh,
It was pretty exciting. We go to the
unbelievable.
studio for a day and a half, Kevin, day and a half of the studio,
Yeah,
and then press 1,000 albums.
that and so I'm thinking about like these people that were interested in supporting you. Do you stay in touch with any of those? Like your earliest
Yes,
support? Okay, so
yes.
so they feel like they got to Marina first. They were your biggest fans, and do you go back and play in Springfield at all? It kind
I
of
have many
okay,
times. Last time we played was September 2017,
okay,
right? And yeah, so every time we could go, plus Nick's family is there, so we would go. I had my really wonderful group of supporters, say people who love my music. So yeah, and then of course Nick's family. So we always combined and went there and made every chance to go. So and your friend says she has a handful of mutual friends with Nick. I'm sure
yeah.
that's
That's
so cool.
she. So Melinda, that we're talking about, she's traveled all over the country and up into Canada to hang out with us with the Flock of Seagulls. So
Oh,
uh,
that's so cool.
she's at the Microsoft Theater backstage, and yeah, it's really cool. She's an amazing friend and supporter.
Very cool.
It's
What a small world.
just like for you, I think once you make a connection with people out there, it's not like you're sort of sustaining a group of fans. It really becomes sort of
Yeah.
family, right? You've got a
Yeah.
community of people.
It's a community,
It is.
absolutely.
And I know that for a little while you were doing house concerts as well. And so for people that are watching that might not know that format was a really great way for independent songwriters to go around the country. And it's kind of like crowdfunding. They'd find
Yeah.
a group of friends really at every whatever milestone that you wanted to, and you'd go and perform. You'd be able to crash at their house, and you could sell your music and have kind of an intimate concert where you could get 20, 30 people in there. And it's a lot better than showing up at a dingy club that nobody knows who you are. And you've got an intimate, warm market of people that are right there interested in hearing your music. They're supportive of purchasing product because they can talk to you and they feel like they get to know you, and
It's
they
very
can.
special, yeah.
It is. So how many trips around the country did you do like that?
Many, 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 many. We have done about 1,300 shows total.
Wow.
Last 150 or so have been online concerts, but so we've done a lot. We've traversed the country. We've played in 46 states, numerous time in some, and only like once in other. But yeah, and it's been great because sometimes we have a show there, and then for 1,000 miles, nothing in between. Like I send an email to my fans and like, hey, does anybody in Montana like want to host a show with us?
Yeah. Have you done
And
have you done them in Montana?
yes.
That, that,
So
that's my home state.
so beautiful, so beautiful. So you just ask, and usually that's, I guess, from the beginning. I learned that you should always ask, even though it's not embarrassing. It's just like if people like me and they want to be part of my world and they can easily help, why not? And
Yeah,
it's
no,
wonderful. And those house concerts are so beautiful and so memorable for all of us, and definitely beats any any club.
I think we've hosted several at my place too, and I think you and I had talked about maybe having you come through.
I
Uh,
know that'd be so cool.
it we my place isn't huge, but we've had
You don't need a huge place.
no
We
you,
played in a
you
small apartment in San Francisco one time,
yeah no,
and it was great.
I made the mistake of having Jennifer Batten here a couple of times, and the second time we had to move across the street to my neighbor's yard because we had probably 50 guitarists packed into my living room, and
Oh Lord.
yeah, it was pre-COVID, right? So but
Oh, those days.
but they're hovering over her pedal board, and so. Do you have any like crazy stories about those intimate house concerts that?
Yes, mostly they were all great.
Yeah,
People, wonderful people who went to these concerts. They just usually just amazing, wonderful people. A couple of times it happened. One time, a fan, and we wouldn't just show up. I actually had an agreement, and I said like, you like please provide like minimum of this much money, because I can't like travel all the way to Montana and then
right,
get $20,
right.
because we need some sort of a guarantee. So I always had like a written, not like a contract, but basically said, you guarantee to give me this much money, even nobody shows up or whatever. If 5 people show up, you still, I need to get paid. And but people understand, because it's not like
Oh,
I'm ripping them off. That's
right.
the way I can actually survive and pay bills. And so people have been great. Anyway, so one guy, we told him like, yeah, it's like this much money. He said, great, great, great. So we show up. It was a kid and his grandma, two of them. But the
Oh,
kid, yep. But the kid knew every song
wow.
of my every, because he and his dad used to come to our concert and bought us books and music, so we knew that kid, but we didn't know we were going to be playing just to two of them. They
Right.
invited all of our friends, but they just didn't come.
Oh,
So
man.
and the dad, he didn't care. He just paid our fee, and but we played. It was literally like the kid sitting right in front of me, and then at one point his grandma left. It
Oh,
was just
oh my
Nick and I, and then like a 12-year kid. Maybe he was younger, maybe like a 10.
oh my
He
God.
was young, but he knew, he was like mouthing every word, and it was like awesomely creepy at the same time, so, and that was one. Another story we had, we were in Maryland, and this fan has been, he showed up to a lot of our East Coast gigs, and really great guy, a cop, and he said, hey, I finally want to host house concert. Like, great. We did that. I told him my fee, all that stuff. Yeah, great. We show up. The house is filthy. They're like
Ooh.
two huge dogs. He has like several children, and the diapers are everywhere. It smelled like poop,
Oh
like
no.
like
Oh,
diaper poop and dog poop,
hmm.
and cat litter.
You're not
That
putting your keyboard down anywhere.
and so Nick and I standing like at the door, like, oh my God, what do we do? He said, we cleared out one space for you. And the thing is, it wasn't just his friends who were going to show up. We invited some of our followers to come see us. So like, we can't just leave because they're going to show up, and we had no way of reaching them. So like, okay, we're just going to suck it up and stay and just like tell our fans like, hey, so
Yeah.
sorry, but we'll be, good sports about it. Well, it was all disgusting, all stunk. The dogs were like
Oh man.
vicious monsters trying to get in the middle of the softest song, and then and then he stiffed us too. He didn't pay us a whole fee. He said he couldn't afford it, and his friends didn't show up, so we made whatever
Wow.
money from our friends.
Oh man.
It was like, I was like, damn it, what the hell? But those were exceptions.
Right. Yeah. No.
Usually house concerts are so awesome and great, and nobody has like stiffed us. But I'm like,
That.
that gig,
Oh.
and we didn't make any money. Oh, maybe we made very little. It was like,
That,
damn, that was,
it's
and
chapter
to
for the
this,
book.
yeah,
You
I
know.
know. It's
Yeah.
this day, like, that was just frightening. It was just so stinky too. It was just like, it was just atrocious.
Oh my
I
God.
could I couldn't believe like people can live like this. And oh, well, one kicker, he said, the guy at one point said, "Hey, can you please tell my wife like good job?" I'm like, "With what?" He said, "She did a number in this house. She's been cleaning for 2 days."
Oh no. Oh.
And Nick and I'm like, you can't write this stuff. It's like comedy on comedy. I mean, it's unbelievable almost how.
You
But
were
he was all serious.
you were looking around to see if there were hidden cameras because it was just a prank on you guys.
Almost,
Yeah.
yes. But anyway, but he was like a normal guy because he'd come to gigs. Anyway, whatever. So
But
yes, things like
we
that happened.
You know what? In Montana, when I was a teenager playing clubs, we played New Year's, and the money was going to be great. We were hired by the mayor to
Oh
play
wow.
a certain town, and we were paid in cocaine. I was 17. Yeah, and I was like the straightest kid ever. I wouldn't even like have a glass of wine, and the
Oh my
guitarist is like, "Man, we got a bonus." I'm like, no, I need
oh my
cash now.
God.
Yeah,
So what
so
did you guys do?
they kept the blow and paid me out my money.
Okay, so they gave you the money. The band members did.
Yeah, the guitarist knew that the value of what they were given was a lot more than the money we agreed upon. So
Wow.
yeah, but
But
yeah,
they were on, so your bandmates were all they. Because I've been around people who did cocaine, and I quickly stopped. Like I never stuck around those people, so I never wanted to try. After hearing all the horrible stories of people, you know, I never wanted to try and never will. That's
yeah,
just not my thing.
and even now, right? Especially, I mean,
Well,
you're
especially
a
now.
wonderful mother, and
No,
I
but I mean, hearing
yeah,
just all the horror
uh,
stories, what does stuff does to your body? No, thank you. So, but it's
yeah,
amazing. So that your bandmates kept it and gave you your cut. I mean,
yeah,
of the money, but
yeah.
that's
I
great. At least you get.
It was a great experience for me, at
Of
17 to
course.
realize, all right, I got to stand my ground. These are my
Yeah,
boundaries. I need the money that we were agreed upon, and
that's
I,
great.
I was putting myself through college playing gigs, that was, but
Well, you were a serious person. You and yeah,
yeah, I
and
was ready to rock, man. I wanted to play, but I think, with those kind of horror stories, it kind of led to like Nick's post today,
yeah.
his declaration about saying, you know what, there's a point in my life I've shifted. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or should I talk to him about
No,
it?
you talk to him about that.
All right,
That's.
yeah.
I think that'll be. Yeah.
I think most musicians or most people that look at musicians, so like with a flock of seagulls, right? We've
Hmm.
the band had great success in the '80s. We've been doing more shows now than I ever
Hmm.
have in my life, but they expect that you've got tons of money and limos and. I'm like you. I know that when I see you at shows, you're very friendly, you're very approachable, you're humble, and I've seen you engaging with people, really understanding that their support is why you're there, that
Yeah.
we're dependent on that support. For me, I've made so many friends and really been open with people that they kind of feel like they know me more than they do. And so even this Christmas, I get messages saying, hey, we don't have much for Christmas. It'd be really cool if you could send my kids some stuff and money. And I'm like, okay. You know,
That's that's interesting.
I don't know if that happened to you, but this is like
No, nobody asked me for presents.
the
No.
third year in a row. Yeah,
Wow.
if you can't afford to send some stuff, I mean, just a gift card would be nice. I'm like,
Wow, Uncle
yeah,
Kevin.
yeah, right. So I
Holy moly, that's
I
crazy.
I got to learn boundaries, but I
No,
think
but I share myself freely with people too,
I
and
see that.
sometimes it is like they feel they know me more than I like. I know what you mean exactly because it's very easy as musicians, as artists. It's all about feeling. It's about emotion. So when somebody asks you a question or when you're like talking, like I sometimes can't stop myself because I feel like I'm just talking. I'm real with you as I am with anybody else, and I will tell them whatever I'm feeling. And sometimes it's really deep, super private, emotional stuff. I mean, I don't give them my bank account, but I tell
Right,
exactly how I feel and what I'm going through, which might be a little bit too much. I realize that. So for stalkers out there, it's not good.
man.
In
You
a
know what?
way, I think sometimes we overshare, but again, it comes from a good place because as artists, that's what we do. We share.
Some artists do, right? I notice that there are certainly friends of mine in the business that are very unapproachable. They standoffish, and maybe it's because they have established these sort of rigid boundaries. But the fact that you share some of this emotional stuff, has it ever come back to kind of bite you? Have you had some people that maybe just were a little too into you? And
Yes, it has happened a few times, and sometimes like in a really crazy way. Most of the time, it's beautiful. People, because I share and then they share back, and they feel like, okay, if she's going through that, maybe I can deal with that stuff too. But I've had people, like for example, like I would hug everybody at shows. I always do, before the virus, obviously,
right,
and then like one fan, I remember in Arizona, it was just like in 2006, but I still remember this. He came up to me and said, "You didn't hug me with the feeling like you hugged that other fan."
ooh,
And I'm like, come on. I said, of course not. Like, you guys are all awesome. Like, of
Yeah.
course, like, thank you so much for coming. And then he wrote me this message saying, like, you don't appreciate your fans. I hope you get cancer.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, that is so, can I say fucked up? I mean, it is
Yeah.
fucked up.
That it.
And I mean, like, how? But this is like from the guy who's like, your music is amazing, who's like been to shows and like has written to me like about how my music means to him, how much it means to him. I mean, and then you get like that. So that's like the other side of like, if you get like filled, yeah. But at the same time, it happened only like, and maybe a couple of other times when people like somebody got my number, found me online and
Ooh.
called me on my, actually our landline before when we had landlines and like our old apartment, also like in 2008. I'm like, how in the fucking world did you get my home number, which I never give to anybody?
Right.
And anyway, and that was kind of friend. But he's like, hey, so how are you doing? I'm like, who is this? And like,
Right.
how? So he actually told me how he got my number. It's like, sometimes there's way too much stuff online, like with the credit card and
Right.
whatever. So, but anyway,
He was
it's
stalking
frightening.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally, this stalking situation. But overall, people are just really, really just a lot of people like for me music is healing. For most, music is healing. So
Yeah.
when you hear an artist telling them like, and I talk openly about having struggled with depression for years and various things in my life, and people really relate to that, and then they feel like, yeah, I'm going through that too. Thank you for saying that, because I was afraid to talk about it, but now you talk about it and it's okay. Like, I was raped when I was a teenager,
Hmm.
and so I opened up about it 4 years ago, and it was important for me to kind of have that like almost closure in a way.
Yeah.
Publicly it felt good, because for I'd never talked about it at all for all these years. And then so many people came out and said, like, thank you for telling me. And like for me, that was like in the middle of the whole Me Too movement. I was not like the bravest person ever, but I mean, it was kind of part of that. But still, for some people that I said that, it helped them feel better about this stuff and abuse that happened to them, and made them not feel of like a victim, because I was talking specifically like, I am not a victim. I'm not. That's what happened to me, but I choose, you know,
Yeah.
not victimhood. I'm not going to be like, poor me, my life sucks. Well, yeah, it sucked, but it happened a long time ago, and I'm getting over it. I'm getting through it. I've had therapy. I've had help. I've
I
had
was gonna
loving,
say.
loving relationship, and I talked to friends. Well, I never talked to friends about it, but I talked to therapists, talked to Nick about it, talked to, and it had helped. And people see that and they hear that. But yeah, it's very personal information that I shared, you know. But again, it's almost never come back to, except for like a couple of crazy instances when people get to, and sometimes people like they think like they tell me really personal stuff, and like I feel like sometimes like I'm their therapist, and it's a little too much, but it comes from a good place, and it's I'm happy that I'm there, that they feel like my music is helping them and what I'm saying is helping.
It there has been sort of a stigma, right, about depression and anxiety and that kind of thing. And the last few episodes that I've had, I've sort of talked about that, musicians dealing with
Oh
all
yeah,
of those, and really, I hit my bottom, the last couple of months, as a matter of fact. And um, I know that a lot of people, when I sort of openly talked about it on the podcast, a lot of people reached out to me and said, we felt like we were the only ones. How could you feel that way?
yeah,
You're successful in music and you've got all these things, but we're all human. And if
of
we
course,
feel, and as an empath, right, like you,
yeah,
I think
absolutely,
I noticed that I started bringing on some of the sadness and the sorrow from musicians that were not able to go out and play. I had,
yeah,
130 episodes of musicians at that point, and parts of each one of those was talking about their struggle, and I recognized that a lot of that stayed right here on my shoulders,
yeah,
and so I think it's important to talk about it. I think the fact that you recognize the need for therapy is really important, because a lot of people feel like there's a stigma attached to that too, and talking about it and talking to a
yeah.
therapist is so important. I actually shared this. I'm just going to share this again here. This this phone number right here is this mental health services crisis line. So if you are out there struggling and you've got, this is the season that really hits people really hard. That phone number is important: 877-726-4727. I know that being able to talk to somebody, even an objective person like that on that phone number, if you're struggling, it's important to reach out. So if you didn't have a chance to write it down, send me a note in the comments and I'll post it again. But I'm glad to hear you say that you felt comfortable talking about it, that people were responsive and receptive to it. Um, I'm wondering if you've put some of that into your music. Do you feel like some of this pain? I mean, I know that your songs are very emotional.
All
Yeah, I
of
mean,
it.
you've got a lot of material. A lot of.
All of it.
I I I was really excited when I asked you if you'd be interested in playing some music. Sometimes people just, you've got these beautiful concerts that you've been doing, your streaming concerts. I think you just had one last night, right?
Yeah, I do them twice a week right now. It's as much energy as we have after dealing with our cute little year and a half old baby. But yes, and actually the song I was going to play, it's from my new album, and it's about what it's like feeling when you're depressed, because depression is never constant.
Right.
You come out of it, you have highs, you have lows, and this is kind of like on the low end of it. And before I was, a lot of my songs are dark but hopeful. This song doesn't necessarily have hopefulness to it, but sometimes it's good to hear just like what it is that moment in time and how you feel at that very moment. And this is what the song is like. So I'd like to do it because I think Nick will come back with a baby, and it's going to be loud in here. She's a
Okay.
cute little
I love
uh,
it.
lively child. All right, so this is called Cold, Cold Winter. It's a
Okay.
title track from my new record in D
Beautiful. Look
minor,
at
which
that.
thank you. It came out in the middle of the pandemic.
Oh, that's great.
Um, and couldn't be actually perfect. This whole record is kind of mellow and introspective and deals with a lot of, um, issues of love and loss and overcoming obstacles, whether they're real or in our mind, which sometimes are the ones in our mind are much worse than the real
Absolutely.
ones. So I'm gonna do Cold, Cold Winter, then maybe we'll talk a little bit more
Okay.
before the baby comes back with Nick.
I'll take myself off screen here while you do it. Here's Marina V, folks. Put your headphones on.
Life is changing, the world is passing by. They are all moving, but I am left behind. That's how it's been lately, and I don't know. It's been a cold, 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 cold winter, and the gray is here to stay. It's been a cold, 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 cold winter, and the ice won't melt away. Oh, it seems I've lost my way. Faded colors fading by my mind. It's getting harder to find what's left inside. Been too dark lately. I need a little light. It's been a cold, 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 cold winter, and the gray is here to stay. It's been a cold, 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 cold winter, and the ice won't melt away. It's been a cold, 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 cold winter, and the gray is here to stay. It's been a cold, 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 cold winter, and the ice won't melt away. Oh, it seems I've lost my way. Oh, it seems I've lost my way. Oh, it seems I've lost my way.
Wow, man, that is unbelievable. So beautiful. I am
Thank
st-
you. Thank
I
you so
oh my
much.
gosh, that yeah, every ounce of emotion comes out when you sing. I miss that voice. You know, what a gift you've
Oh,
got.
thank you
It
so
really,
much. Thank you.
you know, I was thinking as I was watching you, I remember you got some placement, right? You had some music in some soap operas.
Yeah, I've
Some,
had a lot of soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Nick and I have written a lot of music for songs for them. I've had a song in a Pepsi commercial, and we've had some stuff like that. So as an artist, we have to come up with creative ways. An artist has never made it like huge in a terms of like multi-million record deal. I've had to do a lot of interesting stuff, and it's been great actually. So free and creatively. Like Nick and I wrote a rock song for the Pepsi commercial, and then we've done some like stuff like we did a kids rap,
really?
So yeah, so it's
Uh,
we've done a lot of stuff, and we've had different TV shows and films and stuff. But yeah, it's been an amazing career, and what I never answered the original question because a lot of artists strive like, yeah, I'm going to make this record deal. A lot of that make this, get this deal, and then everything will be there. And it has worked for many generations like that. The reality of what is now, there are very few of those types of artists.
right.
So thank you so much. By the way, I see the nice comments there. I really appreciate it, you guys. And the reality of it is now that we have all this technology and all these tools at our disposal. And even while waiting for that big deal, you can do so much yourself. And that's what I've been doing all these years. I've released my own albums from the very beginning because I was hoping to get a record deal, and I tried. And in the early days, I sent a lot of my records to A&R people and publishers and all that stuff. But while doing that, I was also performing a lot, writing a lot, co-writing, doing my own stuff because I knew like I'm not going to sit and wait. I'm going to
Right.
keep doing it. And if it eventually happens, that's great. If it doesn't, I'll at least I am doing this. Plus because I love performing. I love
Sure.
creating. So for me, it's always like that. Um, so that's been my journey like that. And now looking back at all these years and my 12 albums and all the tours, it's been just incredible. I'm so grateful for the experiences, even, performing for one kid or,
Yeah.
but it's like all, it's all pretty incredible. I'm so lucky to that. And we musicians, get to experience this really, like Nick and I always talk, like we have lived like many lifetimes.
Right.
We have done more just in the last few years than than hundreds of people do their whole life. It's just because, and it's not bragging, just the reality of it,
No.
of traveling and meeting people. We've met everybody from the homeless to the senators, and we've got an award from. Did you know we have an award from Sir Bob Geldof? Like we have an award from Sir Bob Geldof.
No
We've met
kidding.
a knight. And
Wow.
then we've hung out with politicians and this and that. So like we've met, have interacted, and become friends with people of all walks of life, and that's the beauty of. Doing what we do. And back to depression for just a second, it's wonderful that you're talking about. I think it's great that I'm talking about. It's great that we live in an age where it's becoming more and more acceptable, and I
Sure.
think people are realizing that more, and I'm just really grateful for that. And I think it's important to talk about all these things because the more we express them, the less of a burden they are here, but also the
Right.
more we realize how alike we are. And this last year has been very hard for many people, aside from just finances of people not
Right.
having a job, just everything, the whole world, suffering. It, like for empaths like us, it's harder, even even harder, just knowing that everybody is hurting. Did you
It's
hear the baby?
I hear. Yeah,
Nick just got back, so I'm gonna feed her, and then I'm gonna bring him over here for a second,
I
and
love
then
it.
maybe she'll say, hi. Is she hungry? What's going on? Nick is the
Right.
best dad, by the way.
I he
He's changed more diapers than I have. I
right.
think she's a little tired. So this is she's the reason we've been
Oh my
performing
goodness.
online. So, and for those of you who are new to my music, we guys play 2 shows a week online. All the information is on my website, marinav.com. We play on Twitch. It's totally free, and all of my music, thank you, Kevin, for putting all my information. All of my stuff is at marinav.com. Please check out all the socials. We post a lot.
That
And perform. I have all the music. I have
oh
a
my
bunch of
good.
music videos.
She is so adorable. Look at that smile. Hi, baby. I
She's a little cranky now.
Oh, you mentioned something just before she came on about that a lot of people can relate and that we have some commonalities. The thing is, right now, especially in our country, right, there's so much divisiveness because
Oh,
people look at our differences, but there's so much more that we have in common
yeah,
than we
we
have in
need to
differences.
concentrate on those for sure.
Yeah,
Even though it's hard because I disagree with a lot of people that I
right.
know,
Yeah.
and it's breaks my heart. But I try to keep remembering that they're more important things.
Right.
So
Your
it
perspective changes after having a child, doesn't it?
it really does,
It
Kevin.
does.
It
Yeah.
really does.
You can get outside yourself a little more. I know that for me, it was a beautiful change that I noticed that it instantly, right? That you develop this love that you
Yeah,
never could explain to anybody else, but
yeah.
you start living for somebody else and not
Yeah.
yourself. And
It's because as artists we're often a bit selfish.
yeah,
And when you become a parent, it's opposite of that.
you
It's
can't.
and it's a transformation. I feel like I've had the biggest transformation of my lifetime. Even though I've moved to a foreign country and started a whole new life, that was nothing compared to becoming a parent, because that really changes your whole everything.
It
And
does.
it's pretty incredible.
I'm
So
so I'm so proud of you. I really
thank you
am.
so much, my friend. Thank
It's
you.
it is a blessing to have you here, and I'm really excited that some people that might not have gotten you to hear you before are getting a chance to hear Marina V. If you're watching, make sure you go to marinav.com. She's got all 12 albums that you can check out there, and I know that you've got CDs that you can sign and send out to
Actually,
people.
yes,
All
yes,
right,
I physically sign and I personalize. Like, let's say if Mike K orders a CD, I will sign to Mike K. And I
nice.
will write his name in Russian too as a bonus. And I
Really?
send a little Russian postcard as well. Yeah,
Oh, that
because first of all, so few people buy physical stuff now.
right.
Also, I've always done that. I've always tried to do little personal touch. That's something that I can do. It's possible for me. I don't have 100,000 orders, so I
Yeah,
can do that, and it's takes only one extra minute, but it makes a difference.
I love it.
So yeah, I
That
have all my stuff. It's all online, marinav.com. Thank you so much, and I will definitely share this. I already shared with my friends and fans. I will share this again so they
okay.
can watch it after it has aired. Okay,
Awesome.
I'm gonna go get the baby, and I'm gonna hand you over to my husband, co-writer, the amazing Wind Beneath My Wings.
Look at the handoff. This is a relay. This is good.
I know, so I'm gonna give
I
him
love
this.
it.
Hold on, we're not gonna hear it for a second because he needs the headphones.
Okay.
Kevin, thank you so much for having us here. Thank you for. I checked out a few episodes of your show. It's amazing what you are doing. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank
Means a
you.
lot to me, my friend, for inviting us. Okay, I'm gonna go take care of this girl.
All right.
Here we
Take
go.
care. All right. He changed her. All right. He's
Hey,
already changed.
Kevin.
I'm glad to see you, Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Baker. Look at
Hey,
this.
how's it going, man?
I'm fantastic. I'm so good to see you. I'm glad to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see you. Not only one of my favorite drummers, but one of my favorite people.
Uh,
Sincerely, Kevin.
shoot.
Absolutely.
I've got you paid well. Listen to that, man. Yeah. Well, guys, listen. If you're watching right now, I know that Marina already set this up, but Nick, her amazingly handsome husband, is also a fantastic drummer and musician, songwriter, plays guitar, and we both share a massive fanaticism for Kiss. So look at this. Oh my God, this is awesome. Well, first of all, okay, we can get into that, but we're gonna talk about the post that you posted earlier today.
Sure.
Okay. We just had a great conversation about the life that Marina and you built as musicians, and where you
Right.
got to through crowdfunding and house concerts and all the independent music promotion that you've done. 1,200 concerts, she mentioned you guys have done.
Yeah.
So
My
into
back
it,
feels every one of them.
I know it does, man. I'm telling you, this is nice. Like Karen says, she's the best. Heather says, "Hi, Nick."
Hey, Heather. Hey,
I don't know.
Heather. Hi,
Can you
Karen.
see the chat all right?
Yeah, I can actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. The deal is dues that get paid for almost all of us never stop getting paid. Like we can, if we continue to play and do what we do, the hope is that, some of those dues have paid off and we don't have to slug it out in clubs and, drive all night to the next gig to maybe make
Right.
50 bucks. So you want to talk a little bit about your post? And this was Nick being vulnerable, right? I love that you started off saying this may be blasphemous, but
Yeah, it is, because you're supposed to be a road warrior all the time, right? You're not.
Right.
You're supposed to just be. You're supposed to just show your grit and all the time, and that's great. And like in my post, Marina, and I'm not bragging when I throw this stuff out there, but we've been to 46 states. We've been all over Europe playing. We've been to Australia playing, and we've had some amazing experiences. We've gotten to play with you, which is awesome.
yeah,
Played with the great Beth Hart quite a few shows. Played with Howard Jones. So some amazing stuff along the way. But there comes a time for me anyway, and it might not happen. It probably doesn't happen for a lot of people, but for me, there's like an expiration date for clubbing, right? And for me, going out on the road with Beth Hart was wonderful. That was one of the best times I had. And if Beth asks us to come back out tomorrow, I'm there.
yeah.
In a heartbeat.
She's
She's
amazing.
awesome. She's awesome. Her crew is amazing. Just class act. They treat us like family. We've known Beth since 2000, so we go way back. But they all treat us like family. I love those guys dearly.
Did
But
they
as
have
far as going to a club,
Jake Hayden playing drums?
I'm sorry.
Jake Hayden playing drums on the last time that you played with him?
No, it was Bill Ransom.
Okay, all right. Jake started playing with her a couple years ago, but I just
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry. So go ahead.
It was Bill Ransom. That guy's amazing and a great guy as well. But there comes a time when you think, I've been doing this since I was 16, and
Right.
if I go into another club and I have to interact with another curmudgeon-y sound engineer, and I have to kneel down on the stage, and my knee will hit a guitar cable and hurt my knee, and and you have to deal with feedback during the sound check, and you do all this. You load in early, you load out late. That for me, that's got an expiration date, and I've hit it at this point in my life, and some people will never hit it, and that's fine. And I'm not complaining. We've had a wonderful run of things, but I'm done. I feel like as far as you got to worry about promotion. You got to get so many people there. You have to deal with the promoters. You've got to deal with the sound person who sometimes is good, sometimes isn't. It's hit and miss, right?
Yeah.
And they're often not in the best mood. Anyway, all of that stuff.
It's amazing. That stereotype really fits a lot.
It does.
The curmudgeon sound guy, man or woman.
And you've got to be. You have to really work with them, because they can push the suck button at any moment,
Right.
and make you sound horrible. So you've got to really work with them. And I see somebody says hello from Jacksonville. Hey, Jacksonville, how you doing? I was a 6th grade teacher there for 3 years. All right.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Traveler 112 is Melinda. She's in Springfield as well. So
Hey, Melinda. Yeah, I'm from Chatham originally, so Melinda probably knows where Chatham is, right? 7 miles south.
she's got a whole bunch of Nick Baker mutual friends, she says. So
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, there you go. Hey, Kevin Eckhoff. Hey, Kevin.
yeah. So you just came to that realization? You just decided, all right.
No, I've been there for a while.
All right.
But I just felt like it just wanted something I just wanted to put out there and get off my chest a little bit, and it felt good to do it. And again, I can't look. Music's been great. We've had all these opportunities,
Yeah.
We've met amazing people. We've done all this, and I'm not done. I mean, and the thing is that what we're doing right now, though, I mean, okay, compare the situation I just laid out of getting into the club, loading out after midnight, often in a place you don't know, where it's 20 below zero, carrying amps and drums. You know this. You've done this over mounds of snow. Compare that to sitting in your living room,
Right.
playing a show, playing to as many or more people, getting paid better, and not having to load in or load out.
Right.
And that's what's going on with Twitch. And Karen, who's in here right now, is she's been awesome working with us in Twitch.
That's great. Yeah. So we're actually broadcasting on Twitch now as well. I've got YouTube as the primary. I have Twitch going just because my boys said, Dad, you really got to get into the Twitch game. So is Twitch your main vehicle right now for getting?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
are you able to monetize there, or do you collect like donations through Venmo, PayPal, that kind of thing?
Marina's more the person to talk to about it, but
right.
But yeah, tips are very good, and then with subscriptions and things like that, we get money at the end of the month on those things as well. And Karen, who's in the chat here, really kind of introduced us to the whole concept of Twitch, so we owe a lot of that to her. She's been great. That's
cool. I posted the link there, so if you're able to get on Twitch, make sure you bookmark that link and go follow her. And I think as a follower of her, you'll get to see 2 live streams a week. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then you can make donations and probably I've already been posting the Marina V link for the website, all the CDs, personalized CDs. I think that's great.
Yeah, and we have Marina V show guitar picks as well.
Look at this. Oh my gosh, man. How about Nick Baker, like guitar picks?
Oh, that's on the flip side.
Okay, there we go.
I've got my chicken scratch on the back.
Awesome. Let's talk Kiss.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Man, all right. So if you guys are out there and you can't stand Kiss, then just hold on tight, because you're going to hear some stories. You're going to hear some stories about Kiss that you may not have believed. So we're going to talk about Eric Carr.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I got into drumming in the first place. Man, look at that. I love that man. Never got to see him live. Yeah. Nick Baker drumsticks is what Kevin Eckhoff wants.
Don't have any of those. Sorry.
You know what we can do? We can take one of my. I just got this year. I got the a Vader deal with the Flock of Seagulls drumsticks.
Nice.
And so we'll do that, and you can scratch out my name and put your name on it.
No, keep Kevin's name on there. You want that? You want Kevin's sticks?
Yeah, it's worth as much as like nothing. But anyway, Eric Carr.
Yeah.
The replacement for Peter Criss. Peter Criss, of course, is iconic, and everybody knows that he wrote like Beth, and he's a phenomenal participant in the band.
Yeah,
technically not the most technical drummer on the planet, but he served his purpose.
He did. He had soul, and he had a little bit of swing to his playing, which was cool.
But Eric Carr comes in.
Yeah.
And not only does he bring this dynamic, bombastic side, but he's also, you can tell, the kindest person I've ever seen. And that guy inspired me to smile when I play. Because you can tell that he was having fun every time he played. You'd see interviews where he was humble. And, in this band where you think of Gene Simmons, big, like such an ego. And Eric Carr is there, this humble guy who just is so grateful to get to do what he loves. And I'm sure you've seen his documentary, right, on Prime and all that. His story is so tragic, right? Yeah. I mean, like, the dude, really kind of late in life got the opportunity to do the Kiss gig. He was older when he got in the band.
Yeah.
And to me, it broke my heart. He passed from brain cancer. And it seemed like he was kind of overlooked by the band.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I know that Bruce Kulick, who you worked with a bunch, was a big fan, and he stayed in touch with Eric a lot. It sounded like Gene was not at all ever present in the hospital when Eric was going down. And, so I don't want to talk about the negative stuff. I want to really, I love the fact that you and I share this reverence for Eric, because every time I talk to somebody that really knows the Eric Carr story, I feel like it's our inside secret,
Exactly, which is a real shame. Yeah. I mean, he was such an incredible talent. And what bothers me is a lot of people dismiss Kiss beyond the original lineup. They say, okay, well, that ended. I Was Made for Love and You came out with Peter Criss. Didn't really play on it, but anyway, he was on the album. And Unmasked came out. He wasn't on that at all. And then that was it. And then they didn't even acknowledge the non-makeup years, the years with Vinnie Vincent and Mark St. John and Bruce Kulick. And you get to a point where when even Kiss did it, when they came back on the reunion tour, I remember there were t-shirts that said something like the first concert in 30, almost 30 years. I'm thinking, what?
Right.
What are you even talking about with this? Who was that band that I went to see, when I was a kid? That had the big Kiss sign behind them. It's just, that really gets to me. But you're right, Eric Carr, he's overlooked not just in the band Kiss, but in the, in the league of drummers as well. The guy was a monster.
Amazing drummer. Yeah, I mean, he had that big, huge, the massive kit. You know, when they came out on Creatures of the Night, and he had the tank. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
like so larger than life, but he was a tiny little dude.
He
I
was,
love
yeah.
the picture of you guys as teenagers
Yeah.
getting to meet him was so cute, man. You know, like how old were you when you met him?
I think I was 14.
Oh my God.
I think I had just turned 14 the month before.
How did you get backstage?
My stepdad at the time was a manager of a movie theater, and he traded the radio station movie passes, like several movie passes that they could use in their contests, for 4 backstage passes.
Oh my God.
And we got 5 people back and four backstage passes because security wasn't really paying attention.
Sure.
But anyway, so it was my buddy Steve and I, and then my sister and her boyfriend at the time, and Steve's dad, and we all got back, and we met the whole band. And you know, to their credit, they were all actually super cool to us. We were a couple of starstruck kids in Springfield, Illinois, and they were all very cool. But I'll never forget, Bruce Kulick came out first, and he could not have been nicer. Yeah. And I actually told him this story. I said, Bruce, you know, I met you when I was a kid, and you came out, and I was really nervous, and you could not have been nicer. And his answer was, of course, well, I've changed a lot since then.
Yeah, but he still is. Yeah,
he is. Bruce is great.
I've only met him at the NAMM show,
yeah.
But there are 100,000 people at that convention. I mean, for people that are watching this right now that don't know, the NAMM show is this big music convention where there are musicians and merchandise vendors and a lot of, you know, tons and tons of rock stars. But Bruce is the guy that will sit and talk to everybody. You know, he'll just take pictures and sign autographs, and he's so humble. You know, just like I was talking about with Eric. You know, it's great. He's been doing the Grand Funk Railroad gig for a long time now, but he's worked with you guys. How did you arrange that? How did you connect with him?
Well, so he had a band called Union when he left Kiss, and they were playing a gig. It had John Corabi, and Brent Fitz, and anyway, it was
Brent was playing drums in that gig.
Yeah, well, he was supposed to. Now get this,
okay,
he couldn't. So the replacement drummer was Eric Singer.
Oh my God! Of course, man. God.
So we went to. I don't know if you know Palladino's. If you remember Palladino's in the Valley in L.A.
Okay.
But so I told Marina, look, Bruce Kulick's playing this gig. We got to go, and it's Union, and actually the Union stuff was cool.
Yeah.
So I went there, and then they played some Kiss tunes as well. But here's the thing, Bruce was the lead guitarist in Kiss for 12 years, right?
Okay.
We walk in the venue. And who is setting up their merch table but Bruce?
Oh my God. Yeah. It's I laugh, but it's so sad too, right? I mean, because when you see that, it's just the harsh reality of the music business.
It is.
Yeah, but chances are, even if they had a merch person, he probably still would have done it, you know? Yeah. But think about how many dues that guy has paid, and yet he still sits at merch table.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was there setting up the merch table. I'm sure they had somebody watching after it during the show. But and then I just approached him and just said, hi, nice to meet you. And then Marina, then we started talking, and he said, Marina said, I'm Russian. He said, oh, well, I've got some Russian in me as well. He said, Kulick, right? Is the old pronunciation, Kulick, and we start talking about that, and then he knew Marina's manager at the time, David Krebs, from back in the day, because David used to manage Michael Bolton, who Bruce was playing guitar with back in the day, in a band called Blackjack. So
way back,
way back when Michael Bolton was a rock singer,
right? Yeah.
So so he knew Krebs. And so we had this connection right away with mutual friends, and for me it was surreal being the kid who was this huge Kiss fan. Suddenly kind of getting to know Bruce. I'm not going to pretend that we're best buddies and we hang out every weekend, but I know the guy, so it's pretty cool. And then so we kept in touch, and he being the nice guy like you said, he sent Marina like 3 of his CDs and a bunch of guitar picks and all this stuff. Just because, he wanted to share the music. So we gave him some stuff. He gave us some stuff. And so we just kept in touch. And then a couple of years later, Marina reached out and just said, hey, would you be willing to come and play some lead for me on my new album? This is on the My Star album. It was just one song. And we wanted him to come in and play. And he showed up. We told him, look, we don't have much of a budget. He's like, I don't care. He just shows up. We're in Hollywood. Bruce just shows up, knocks on the door. He's got his guitar. We later found out that he was running a fever, had a cold, but he still showed up and played. There's a song called Killing My Dream on Marina's My Star album, and that's Bruce playing guitar on that song.
Wow.
And he sat there in the studio with us and worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. And Yeah, just could not have been cooler. So that's been pretty surreal. And he is, like you said, he's a good guy. And by the way, he's on Kiss Live Auctions on Facebook. He's auctioning off a bunch of his own cool Kiss merch. Like
Really?
Yeah, and he's going to do it on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Again. So pretty cool.
That I know that they've got their big live stream on from Dubai happening for New Year's Eve. But I have another event happening New Year's Eve that people should know about. So I'll put a comment to our thing. We're doing a live stream with the Flock of Seagulls and a whole bunch of bands. I think the Wang Chung guys are going to be there. And
cool, yeah.
But it's based in Toronto. They're hosting that. And Karen's she teaches all about twitchformusicians.com.
Karen literally wrote the book on Twitch for musicians. Literally.
Yeah, man. Okay, Karen, I will be finding you. And if you guys are watching this and you haven't subscribed to this channel, I would love it if you hit the subscribe link and hit the little bell, because there are 135 other episodes with really, really cool guests. Everybody from drummers that we know, Kenny Aronoff and Todd Zuckerman, and to a bunch of rock stars and movie stars, and great, wonderful musicians like Marina V and Nick Baker. I think the Kiss connection is cool. I was thinking if you're able to get out, or do more of these live streams. Bruce doesn't live far from you. I think you guys are north by like towards Santa Clarita. Is that right?
Yeah, but he has since moved to Vegas.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right.
Yeah. He lives in Vegas now.
A
lot of people are going that way.
Everybody's leaving LA to go to Vegas or Austin. Those are the two.
I could not handle a Vegas summer. I just couldn't. That's just me, though.
Austin, gets pretty dang hot too. But I think people being on top of each other right now with the coronavirus and cost of living. I noticed that rents are going down in LA right now. My son's trying to get down there, and the rents have gone in half. I think they're trying to keep people there. But
yeah,
I was just thinking it'd be cool to have Bruce there doing a live stream with you guys on one of your live concerts.
I'd love it. It. He's invited anytime.
What's your dream gig? If you could put together a band.
My dream gig, if I could put together a band from anyone living.
Yep, living or dead, doesn't matter.
Oh my God, living or dead.
Yep.
It would be Kevin Rankin on drums.
Yeah, no.
It would be
Eric Carr on drums. I'm sure.
Okay, I'll put Eric. You guys can tandem drum. I'll put Paul McCartney on bass.
Oh, sweet.
I would have to have living or dead. Our lead singer is Elvis.
Oh wow. Okay.
All day. I mean, no doubt about it.
Really, all day. You're not going to let Paul sing anything?
Paul can sing, but he's got to really sing. Anyway, did I just say that? But no. So Elvis Presley, Paul Stanley in his prime they can trade off. That's good. Okay. I'll go Ace Frehley on lead.
Okay.
And Bruce Kulick. Put those two together, and then you got to have Hendrix in there. So we're gonna have a few guitarists playing there, and yeah. And then McCartney can handle all the other stuff like piano and whatever else might come our way. And of course, Marina V is going to be in there singing as well and playing piano.
I love it. How would she feel about that band lineup?
She'd be down. She'd be down. Yeah.
She tolerates your input.
Absolutely.
I love it, man.
As long as I put McCartney in, she wouldn't care. She'd be good with that. Have
you gotten to see him live?
Yeah, I've seen him. We've seen him like 8 times. Actually, the coolest. We got to see him in Amoeba Records in Hollywood.
Really? Performing?
Yeah. I was literally standing about 10 feet from his piano while he was playing Let It Be.
Oh my God.
That's one of those things. It was surreal.
My youngest is such a Beatles fan. At 10, he told me more about the Beatles than I ever knew. All this obscure stuff. And so it was really cool to go to Abbey Road with him and go to Liverpool and go to the museums. And he, taking the Magical Mystery Tour there in Liverpool, he knew where all these things were going to be before we got there in the tour. And the tour guide would be telling us something. And my son said, well, that's the rumor, but that's not really true. But it's amazing that I missed him the last time he came through, and I'm kicking myself for it. My son has to see McCartney before he's not touring anymore.
Yeah. Have you seen him?
I've never seen him.
Oh, you've never seen him? Okay.
I've never, and I know that he doesn't sing the way he used to, but it doesn't matter. He's a legend.
The guy wrote Yesterday, Let It Be, Hey Jude, Lady Madonna, Helter Skelter. I mean, on and on. Good enough.
Yeah, that's all we need. But until then, I just get Marina V, which is also a nice consolation prize. So guys, if you're out there and you haven't yet done it, go to the marinav.com website. Her new record just came out during the pandemic. She will sign it for you. So do some orders right there. And Nick might even throw a note in there for you too. If you're a Kiss fan, maybe he can personalize it with a little Kiss memorabilia and or at least a memento. He'll send you a picture of him with Eric Carr. That's all you need, you know? And, you know, since Karen's been contributing here with the chat, make sure you go to twitchformusicians.com if you want to know about monetizing on Twitch. I'm going to. So I'm so glad to see you, man. I'm grateful.
You too. Great to see you.
I'm grateful for your time. And it's really been fun to watch you guys doing your live streams.
Thanks, man. Figuring
out a way to do this thing, especially during the pandemic, you know? There are a lot of musicians that could benefit from watching your model. And I think it's been awesome to see how you manage parenthood and, you know, a relationship. You know, you guys are a wonderful husband and wife duo. And so I'm a big fan of Nick.
Hey,
Nick.
Back at you, man. Back at you. And I see Brian Bowles and Carrie Bernstein. Hey, guys, good to see you there. Carrie used to live down the street from me growing up.
Really?
In Chatham, Illinois. Yeah.
Oh, that's my friend Melinda saying that you know Brian and Carrie. So I think she's friends with them as well. So Melinda travels all over the country to hang with us as well. And she's been to Canada, from Toronto to LA and everywhere in between. And she lives in Springfield. So Melinda, thank you for hanging out with us this afternoon.
Yeah.
Instead of being out in the snow. I don't miss that at all. Being from, you know, Midwest, man, the snows were tough. So, so folks, again, thank you for being here this afternoon. Nick, please give Marina a squeeze for me and take one for yourself. And it was wonderful to meet your little baby girl.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Yeah, she's a sweetie.
And I will be back here. Just keep an eye on my channel and on the Facebook page so that you can see. I've got Brianna Borton, who's this amazing wellness coach. She's got a series of spas and salons all over the country. She does meditations and a lot of wellness teaching. So it's something we all need right now. So cool. I'll be doing that next week, and then got some killer drummers, Joe Menges, actually, who plays with the Eels, and we're going to talk a little bit about anxiety and depression and touring, man. Sure, and that's a common conversation to have lately. So, so Nick and Marina, thank you so much for being here.
Kevin, great. Thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.
Everybody
Always
in the
great
chat.
To see you.
It's so great to see you too, man. Happy New Year. And
you too.
Let's get rid of this pandemic so we can out and go and see each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Thanks so much.